Welcome back, capital F football fans, to the O&O Sports YouTube channel. Today, we are looking at a New Year's Day quarterfinal matchup. It is the Sugar Bowl between the SEC champion Georgia Bulldogs and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. As always, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot, and let's jump right into it. Starting with the tail of the tape, starting with the Georgia Bulldogs. They went 11-2 this year, 7-2 in the conference. Their best wins this year are Texas again, and Tennessee. Their total offense ranks at 46th in the country, total defense at 43rd. Not great on paper, but we know they play a lot better than the statistics. Strength of schedule is first in the country. In the college football playoff rankings, they are second, but our buddy Todd has them at 11th, considerably lower than the college football playoff, but we'll get more into that later. For Notre Dame, they are 12-1 overall with no conference record, obviously. Their best wins this year are Indiana in that first round of the playoff, Army, and Texas A&M. Their total offense ranks at 35th in the country, and their total defense ranks at 6th in the country. Very good numbers there. Strength of schedule is going to be 17th, and in the college football playoff ranking, they are 5th, and Todd has them in similar territory at 4th. Now let's look at your players to watch in this one. Starting with Georgia, on offense, it's going to be the running back Trevor Etienne. He has returned as Georgia's primary running back after missing a few games in the regular season. He's going to need to put a lot of work in against a stout Notre Dame defense, especially now that Carson Beck is out for the rest of the playoff. He forgoes the playoff because of injury and to train for the NFL draft. Quite an interesting wrinkle in this postseason with that. We will have to wait and see how different this Georgia offense looks with Gunnar Stockton at the helm. But before we do that, let's look at Etienne's stats on the year. In just 9 of their 13 games so far this year, he's logged 571 yards at 5.1 yards per carry and 9 touchdowns. Him and Nate Frazier will still be sharing touches, but we saw in that game at Texas that Mike Bobo wanted to use him more as the primary back, a role that he flourished in that game. But for your defensive player to watch, it's going to be the linebacker Jalen Walker. Really could be any number of those guys on that defense, especially on that front 7, but Walker stands out to us because he has been their best run stopper at the first and second level this year. He has 35 solo tackles on the year for 11 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, a pass defense, and 2 fumble recoveries, and he'll be absolutely pivotal for them as they're gonna need to stop an efficient and deadly run offense led by Notre Dame's offensive player to watch, Riley Leonard. We could have easily gone with Jeremiah Love here also. He has been amazing this year and is one of the biggest factors in Notre Dame's win over Indiana a few weeks ago, but we like Riley Leonard as Mike Denbrock's changeup pitch in this one. We think Denbrock is going to focus in a little bit more on the quarterback run, seeing as Georgia has struggled with containing those kinds of offenses this year. See the Alabama game, see the Ole Miss game. We think he'd be smart to do so. Leonard has logged a 67% completion percentage, over 2,200 pass yards, 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a 140 passer efficiency rating, with an additional 135 carries for 750 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, and 15 touchdowns. Watch out for him here. And for your keys to victory, let's start with the Georgia Bulldogs. It's going to be trusting your line play. You are elite at both the offensive and defensive lines. We know as an offense, you want to air it out and make those spectacular plays in open space with your skill players, but you are kind of limping into this matchup. A few injuries on that offense, so we wouldn't be too aggressive here, especially if you're able to contain the run game. We know it's a big ask, but if anyone is able to do it at an elite level, it would be Georgia. They may not look elite on paper, but they are. It's been a weird season for the Dogs, but if anything, they've showed that they are more than capable of holding their own against premier offenses when the lights are the brightest, which brings us to our last key to success for the Bulldogs. It's going to be giving Gunnar Stockton some room to breathe. He is a phenomenal talent, but he obviously lacks the big game experience of a guy like Carson Beck, and unless he comes out and has a 2018 Tua type of game where he comes in and just takes over, you're going to want to ease him into this one. Simple reads, quick routes, get his arm going, and then we're absolutely okay with seeing them take deep shots later in this one if Gunnar has proven he can hang around that long. Just need to remember who you have on the field and who you're playing, And speaking of who they're playing for Notre Dame, their first key to success is going to be running the ball. It's been effective. It's worked all year. We saw it against Indiana, and you are playing Georgia, but you can't afford to move too drastically away from who you are. We know that kind of goes against the logic we gave for Georgia's keys to victory, but Notre Dame's passing offense has been most effective when they are running the ball successfully, so you need to establish that part of the offense as soon as you can, and then you need to force Gunner's hand, and by that we mean put pressure on Mike Bobo to use Gunner's arm by stopping Georgia's run game early. We think this is the biggest key to success in this one way or the other. If Notre Dame can effectively eliminate the Georgia run game and Gunner Stockton can't get it going, it should make a win for Notre Dame all the more feasible here. But if Gunner Stockton ends up having a legacy game and taking this one over, obviously there's not much more you can do if you're Notre Dame, but we'd be willing to bet on the former before the latter. But with that being said, their last key to victory here will be getting those home run plays late in this matchup, especially with Jeremiah Love, Riley Leonard, Anais Williams, Bo Collins, guys like that who can really help you pull ahead in this one. You're not going to be able to dominate the trenches, but you can weaken them and get a couple of those big plays later in this game that push you over the edge here. Will be very important that they get a few of these here. And with that, let's look at our predictions for this matchup. Now, as always, me and Todd are going to have two different final score predictions for this matchup, and we actually agree wholeheartedly on what we think this matchup is going to look like. A close battle, pounding in the trenches, gut punches, but we disagree for the first time this postseason on who we believe the winner will be. Todd's evil robotic algorithm has cooked up a final score of 23-20 in favor of the Fighting Irish, but I'm going to go the other way. I really trust the experience of that Georgia coaching staff here. They've been a team who's outplayed what the stat sheets have showed this year, and we think Gunner Stockton performs well enough to propel the Bulldogs to a victory in this one, 20-17. The winner of this matchup is going to go on to play either Penn State or Boise State in the Cotton Bowl. Going to be an exciting postseason, folks, so make sure you like and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching. We appreciate the support on the channel. It helps us out tremendously, and we will see you in the next one.